In today's lecture video, we will be talking about the ecoliteracy. Ecological literacy. Ecological literacy or ecoliteracy is a term first used by American educator David W. Orr and physicist Fritjof Capra in the 1990s in order to introduce into educational practice the value and well-being of the earth and its ecosystems. Ecological literacy is the ability to understand the natural systems that make life on Earth possible. So basically, the natural environment makes life on Earth possible. And when you have the ability to understand the natural environment, then you'll have the capability to protect, take care, conserve, and preserve the natural environment. In other terms, you are ecoliterate or an ecologically literate individual. To be ecoliterate means understanding the principles of organization of ecological communities and using those principles for creating sustainable human communities. So these are the following principles of ecology. Protection of species and species subdivisions will conserve genetic diversity. Maintaining habitat is fundamental to conserving species. Large areas usually contain more species than smaller areas with similar habitat. All things are connected, but the nature and strength of those connections vary. Disturbances shape the characteristics of populations, communities, and ecosystems. Lastly, climate influences terrestrial, freshwater, and marine ecosystems. So when you have an understanding of the following principles, you can use it to create sustainable human communities. As sustainable human communities are the ones who conserve and protect nature. As we all know, nature makes all life possible on Earth. So conserving and taking care of nature also means protecting and taking care of our lives. Everything in nature is connected and interdependent, which means that the human survival rely on nature, for it gives us all the things that we need in order for us to live and survive in the world in which we live in. Ecologically literate society. An ecologically literate society would be a sustainable society which did not destroy the natural environment on which they depend. So a society who cultivate an understanding about the natural environment will be a sustainable society. A sustainable society is the one that avoids the depletion of natural resources in order to keep an ecological balance that doesn't allow the quality of life of modern societies to decrease. Ecological literacy is a powerful concept as it creates a foundation for integrated approach to environmental problems. So ecological literacy is a powerful concept in which every human being on our planet should be supported to develop. Ecological literacy is a way of thinking about the world in terms of its interdependent natural and human systems, including a consideration of the consequences of human actions and interactions within the natural context. Ecological literacy equips us with the knowledge and competencies necessary to address complex and urgent environmental issues in an integrated way, and enables us to help shape a sustainable society that does not undermine the ecosystems upon which it depends. An ecologically literate person understands that we are all part of a living system where the key principles are about interdependence and interconnectedness. An ecologically literate person translates this understanding into actions that demonstrate conscious efforts to minimize negative impacts in our life-sustaining systems and maximize value contribution to our collective being, now and for the future generations. Ecoliteracy concerns understanding the principles of organization of ecosystems and their potential application to understanding how to build a sustainable human society. It combines the sciences of systems and ecology in drawing together elements required to foster learning processes toward a deep appreciation of nature and our role in it. So ecoliteracy concerns with the principles of ecosystems and its potential application to understand how to build a human society who understand and appreciate the natural environment and do our role, which is to protect and conserve it. Systems thinking is the recognition of the world as an integrated whole rather than a collection of individual elements. So system thinking is necessary to understand complex interdependence of ecological systems, social systems, and other systems on all levels. There are 5 ways to develop ecoliteracy. First, we should develop empathy for all forms of life. At a basic level, all organisms, including humans, need food, water, space, and conditions that support dynamic equilibrium to survive. By recognizing the common needs we share with all organisms, we can begin to shift our perspective from a view of humans as separate and superior to a more authentic view of humans as members of the natural world. From that perspective, we can expand our circles of empathy to consider the quality of life of other life forms, feel genuine concern about their well being, and act on that concern. So, to develop eco-literacy, we need to feel empathy and concern towards other living beings. Instead of acting as a superior being who can take and destroy anything from the natural environment, we humans should view ourselves as members of the natural world. We need to emphasize the importance of plants and animals, for they play an important role in sustaining the web of life. They play an important role for our survival as a human beings. So we should exhibit care, understanding, and compassion toward other living beings. We need to develop relationship with our surroundings in order for us to learn on how a society lives and values other forms of life. We should view ourselves as intimately connected to plants, animals, the land, and the cycles of life for us to develop eco-literacy, which will lead us to create a better place to live in. Second, to develop eco-literacy, we should also embrace sustainability as a community practice. Organisms do not survive in isolation. Instead, the web of relationships within any living community determines its collective ability to survive and thrive. By learning about the wondrous ways that plants, animals, and other living things are interdependent, students are inspired to consider the role of interconnectedness within their communities and see the value in strengthening those relationships by thinking and acting cooperatively. So, we need to embrace as a community practice the avoidance of the depletion or consumption of natural resources in order to maintain an ecological balance. Third, make the invisible visible. Historically, and for some cultures still in existence today, the path between a decision and its consequences was short and visible. If a homesteading family cleared their land of trees, for example, they might soon experience flooding, soil erosion, a lack of shade, and a huge decrease in biodiversity. But the global economy has created blinders that shield many of us from experiencing the far reaching implications of our actions. As we have increased our use of fossil fuels, for instance, it has been difficult and remains difficult for many people to believe that we are disrupting something on the magnitude of the Earth's climate. Although some places on the planet are beginning to see evidence of the climate change, most of us experience no changes. We may notice unusual weather, but daily weather is not the same as climate disruption over time. If we strive to develop ways of living that are more life affirming, we must find ways to make visible the things that seem invisible. To sum it up, we must be responsible with our own actions because every action is the reflection of the life that we have and will be having. Every action that we made is our breath, our life, and the future of the next generation. Every good things that we did is our breath of life. So let us start digging and bury a seed of goodness within our hearts, for the creation of a better life start with a single seed of our own actions.